All right, I'll tell you a couple of quick stories. So I remember I actually had a mentor, and I actually took his course, turned up to him one day, asked a bunch of questions. He just looked at me, literally staring at me. He didn't answer none of the questions. And he said to me, he said, I've given you a bunch of trainings. How many hours of those have you heard? It used to be like an MP3 thing that went into the car or your laptop or whatever. And I said to him, I said, I've only done a couple of hours. It was 160 hours he had given me. And I said to him, I said, I've only watched a couple of hours because I'm not answering any of your questions. Until you go back and you watch every single one of those hours, make notes, and then come back to me with questions. So I was actually like, okay, shit, that's 160 damn hours, just way too many. So I went back and I did 160 hours of MP3 listening in 3 months.
That's quick.
And I went back to the mentor and I said, you know, I've got a couple of questions. And then the first thing he said to me was, like, when you came the last time, how many questions did you have? I said, about 1,000. He goes, how many do you have now? I said, about 2. He said, see the difference?
Mhm.
So you guys have access to 190 hours of trainings. If you watch an hour a day, it would take you about 6 months. If you watch 2 hours a day, it would take you 3. If you are a bit more obsessed, watch 3 to 4 hours, you could do it in a month and a half. Instead of taking 5, 7, 10 years to make £1 million, you could take 3, 4, or you could take the rest of your life dragging these hours and not putting the work in and complain for the rest of your life about how shitty the life is. I'm sorry. It's a choice of doing it, not doing it, or actually not making any decision at all and staying still. It's your decision, guys. Please raise your hand if you know what I mean. Please.
Yes, understood. Okay? Understood.
As boring as it may get, my average listening on my Audible is still about an hour a day. I've been doing this since the age of 25. I'm 44, 19 years, and my average of reading and or listening is more than an hour a day. I would like you to just consider the compounded effect of how much study I've done to be able to get to this point in my life. An hour a day. I've been through days where I've finished a book a day. In fact, I remember a week when I did 5 books in a single week. Okay? Mm-hmm. I've been through programs where I have literally obsessed over watching 7, 8 hours straight so I could finish the program and understand the depth of it. Okay? That's how obsessed you have to be. So if you think it's easy, it's not. Okay?
Yes.
Agreed.
Okay?
Yeah.
I had another story in my mind. So when I do remember, I will share it with you. But that was one story. Okay? All right. 3 things I'm going to cover. I'm going to start from the bottom one, which was investor psychology. Okay? I've shared this many, many times. However, I think the more time is repeated, the better it is, because it's not, it literally goes into your system and that you understand when you're speaking with investors. Okay? Remember, there is so much money in the world, and there are people out there sitting on so much money, they don't know what to do with it. There is absolutely no shortage of money in the world. When you speak with an investor, in fact, let's just do role play, okay? Let's just do role play with, raise your hand if you'd like to do role play with me so I can. you can see through this a bit. Okay, Simon, seasoned investor, guys, so he can see through a bit more. Okay, so Simon, let's say you're sitting on £1 million cash. Okay,
Yep.
you've pulled this out of your business. Imagine you're not a property investor.
Okay.
You're a businessman. You've made some money somewhere else. You don't understand property. All you understand from property is I can buy a property, rent it out, and take rent. That's all you understand. Okay.
Okay.
You're sitting on £1 million. You don't know what to do with it. You have to use that money, because if you don't use that money, you're going to have to pay a tax bill.
Okay.
Okay. Someone like me, let's say me, I approach you. I don't know how you met me the first time. You're a part of the inner circle membership. So somewhere, somehow you've paid to join. Somewhere, somehow that trust is created. Am I right?
Yep. Yeah. No,
so
like trust and all that stuff.
Let's see, the trust is already created. Okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
I come to you and say, Simon, tell me what's happening in your business. And then you tell me, oh, it's going fantastic. I'm sitting on a bunch of cash. I really need to use this money. Otherwise, I'm going to end up paying tax. And or the money is going to, depreciate in value sitting in account. I don't know what to do with it. And then I present you a deal, which is going to make 20%. Let's say it's a bare minimum 20%. Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about bare minimum, guys. 20% is a really minimum amount of money to make on a development deal. Okay. It can be 30, it can be 40, it can be even 70, 80 and a double. Okay. But as a bare minimum, we'll take 20. So I reach out to you, Simon, and say, you know what? I've got a deal that's going to make, 20% on your money. What would your response be? Be honest, be harsh, whatever you like.
If I was not in property, I go, what's the catch?
Okay, so if you were not in property, you'd say, what's the catch? As in the sense, 20% is a decent return.
Yeah, because I'm only getting 4% in the bank.
Okay, perfect. Good question. Okay, my answer in that case would be, everyone, just please hear me out. I'm reverse engineering. For those of you who don't have an appraisal, ask me how development appraisals are done. I'm going to take a development site, reverse appraisal it, and present it to Simon. Okay? Reverse appraising means you go from GDV and then you minus all the cost. Simon knows this, but he's not a property investor at the moment. Okay? But I'm reverse engineering all the costs. So basically GDV minus the build cost, the professional fees, the finance costs, so on and so forth. And then we get to the land value. And then I reach out to Simon. Simon, look, here's the deal. If you look at the spreadsheet, this is how it is. The numbers are calculated. This is how it works. This is a couple of results that we've had previously. There's no cash. It's not rocket science. In property, making 20% return on your money invested is probably the bare minimum. If the deal goes in a favorable direction by external reasons, let's say the market goes up a bit, you could make more. I've already taken a conservative figure. So if the market goes down, you'd still make 20%. Okay. There's the 10% contingency as well within that. So if the market goes down, we use that as well. What would your response be? We're taking it a short way here, Simon, but what would your response be?
Okay, yeah.
Remember, you already trust me and so on and so forth. Yeah.
You've done some more of these deals before, I guess, yeah?
Exactly. I'm going to be showing you some examples, yes.
You've got a track record.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay. Okay. What's my security then on that? Would I own the property?
You would get a charge on the property.
Like a mortgage type thing?
Yes.
Okay. Where do I sign?
Guys, I need you to see through this a bit, please, okay? As long as the capital of an investor is secure, as long as they trust you, in fact, let's start the trust part first. You need to create trust first. So you need to learn how to build rapport, okay? So anyone who's here joined, please just go back to the conversations I've always had with you. I always ask about you. The way to build rapport is to ask about the challenges of the person that's in front of you. That's how you build rapport. When you understand the challenges, and then you say, I can bring some value, or I can meet some of the challenges that you're facing, That's how you build rapport. Are you with me?
Yes.
So you build rapport, go back to the grow model. I've covered this previously in detail in the videos as well, in some of the previous sessions as well. I use the grow model. Thank you, Colin, for that, to build rapport. But once you build rapport, and then you reverse engineer the development appraisal. If you have not done the development appraisal, please ask me. It's in my drive. I can forward it to you. You can play with the numbers. You can see through. It's not rocket science. It's simple, but you do need to practice this more. Okay? And same with the grow model as well. So I just spoke with Simon for like 5 minutes. Obviously, we are role playing. Some of the bits are already done. This conversation can normally take about an hour minimum. Can sometimes take 4 to 5 hours. If the amount is bigger, can sometimes take days. Okay? But the money is available as long as you can prove first, rapport, build, security that is charged on the property, and the third is that the deal is good. Okay? Important part is what most people don't realize is, and most people when they struggle with investors, is they don't realize that they gotta have a good deal on the table. If you don't have a good deal on the table, if you go into the market and you go into the Zooplas and the Rightmoves and the Foxtons and the Savills and or a bunch of other websites and you pick a deal from the table and you show it to an investor, the likely is you're going to get a no because there's not enough profits on those deals because they've been circling around. They're reverse engineered by seasoned investors. They leave barely minimum margin for you to profit from. So that's why investors don't invest. When you learn how to find your own deals, which is again something that you'll be learning in the process, is that's when investors invest. I find finding investors the easiest part of the journey. Lately, it's been a little tough, I must say, because of the recession part, perceptive recession. But that's normally not the most difficult part, okay? When I go to speak with investors, it's never a complete no. It's more like, I'd like more information or I need to understand a bit more depth to it, okay? If you're getting a no, the likely is, in fact, another thing that I've learned lately with lots of experience, and I was sharing this with Simon early in the morning, is especially in recession, when you reach out to seasoned property investors, they're likely not going to invest because they are seasoned, they expect higher returns, and because they know it is a recession and higher interest rates and so on and so forth, that increases the risk of making lower profits. And that means getting a yes from a seasoned property investor becomes more difficult. Instead, and I was like I said, I was sharing this with Simon earlier when I spoke with him in the morning, I've lately stopped pitching property investors. I would rather pitch someone who's not from property, does not understand property enough. I'd rather pitch a doctor, engineer, a scientist, a tech investor, someone who doesn't understand property enough. It's about 10 times more easier to get that money than in comparison to a property investor. Okay? Please raise your hand if you know what I mean.
Can I ask you a question?
Go ahead. Please, go ahead.
Have you been sort of putting stuff out on social media and so on to attract investors, or have you got any set where you've been doing that? Like LinkedIn, for example.
We do that regularly, Simon.
Yeah.
It goes on social media. We make videos to create content to build more credibility in the market.
Right.
I've also been planning and have understood the depth of using pensions. You know that stuff, SAS and all of that. But I've understood the depth of that as well.
Okay.
So lately, I've been speaking with people who are sitting on pensions. Okay. So we're potentially going to get to that point as well where we'll start using pension money.
Right.
Do I know everything? No. But I'm learning. I've learned quite a bit of that. Okay. But speaking with investors is a regular practice, Simon. I probably speak with about 10 a week.
Okay.
That's regular practice. We have a virtual team in place, Simon. I've got 2 people in the virtual team. At the moment, I've had times when I've had 5, but at the moment, I've got 2 people working as a virtual assistants, and they are regularly networking, sending on average about 300 messages a day to people in our network. And then off that 300, we get a number of people join our WhatsApp groups, and we kind of nurture those relationships. So it's a regular thing that happens behind the scene at PE.
Okay.
Okay. And remember, we are also connected with family offices, so we can bring money. I also have a bunch of people who I work closely with that are sitting on money. Like I said, lately I've been finding, in fact, let me share with you something so you can see through that it's not all, roses and it's not all roses out there and entertainment and glamorous. Lately, someone approached me, one of the internal members, for a deal. It's not the best deal, but it's still a deal. He is an experienced guy. I've introduced him to like 6, 7 investors. Unfortunately, none of them have invested. And I look back at that journey in the last a couple of months, and the reason is because all of them are, most of them are seasoned property investors. So now I've got to a point where I'm like, okay, I'm gonna be working more closely with people from non-property background, and I do have quite a few. I'm surrounded by quite a lot of doctors. I'm also surrounded by quite a lot of people in other businesses. I have one who has proposed lately. He's got about $500,000 to invest. He works in a vape business, to be precise. I hope that answers some of your question. So a part of your question.
Thanks.
Yeah. Okay. So investor psychology is that first, for the next 2 or 3 years till we have this perceptive recession, I wouldn't waste my time in pitching it to property investors, seasoned property investors. I would rather pitch it to people who are non-property. It will save you a hell lot of time, guys. I promise you, I have wasted a lot of time in the last few months. Okay. And second is that they are looking for, first, trust. If there's no trust, don't waste your time. You need to first build trust. Second is that they want security of capital. And the third thing is they want a good deal. If you don't have any of these 3, you're wasting your time and other people's time. Okay? If I'm blunt, I promise you guys there's a reason. Okay? So please make notes of this. This is going to massively help you. Also, that when you're speaking with investors, your first job is to find out through the grow model, what is it that they want? Okay? Because remember, it's not about what you want. If you always think what is it that you want, you're never going to win this game. Stop thinking about yourself. Paradoxical as it may sound, the more you think about yourself in business, the more you lose. The less you think about yourself, the more you win in business. So stop thinking about yourself and you will become a winner. So when you're speaking with investors, it's not about you, it's about them. Let them take airtime, 80% or even 90%. Your job is to ask questions and listen and understand. Look at my hand gesture. If let's say this is an investor, you need to learn to find a perfect grip into what they want. This is you. They're not going to move. They're going to stay where they are. You need to find a perfect grip to be able to get them to secure funding from them. So you walk the 100% of it. Your job is to ask questions, understand their aspirations, understand their emotional hot button, Please write this down. Their emotional hot button. And when you understand through the GROW model questioning their emotional hot button, every human being on this planet has an emotional hot button. When you understand that emotional hot button, and then you make your way and match that and touch that hot button, you will 100% get the money. Human beings at the core, all of us, are not similar. We are the same. We all want a bunch of things I can list in front of you, and pretty much every single one of you will raise hand. Okay? We want security, we want freedom of time and money. You know, we want to spend more time with, you know, our loved ones, or just socialize and chill, us being, you know, social beings. We want to spend time with people that who are listeners and who want to who understand us and don't judge us. You know, please raise your hand if you are on the same page as the things that I've shared. Please be honest. Yeah, literally every human being is exactly the same, guys. It's your job to find that button and then ask for that investment. Only ask the W. So when you look at the GROW model, and the last one is the will, which is a closed question of, would you like to invest? Would you like to go ahead? Don't ask that question because it's a yes and no answer. Don't ask that question unless you already instinctively know that you're going to get a yes. Have you built enough rapport? Have you understood the aspirations? Have you understood what that investor emotionally wants? Have you presented the deal appraisal in depth? Is the investor emotionally and logically, objectively and subjectively secure in their mind about the deal? Don't ask the question of closing question unless you're sure about all of this, unless you've done a good job. Okay? If you do all of this and you go and pitch it to 10 investors, the likely is you're probably going to get 1 or 2 yeses. Do you have any questions, guys? Practicing GROW model stands at the core of everything. Please go ahead, Simon.
I don't have a copy of the GROW model actually.
GROW stands for G for goals, R for reality, O for opportunities, W for will. Your questions need to start from the reality bit, so where they are in the journey, and then ask the goals questions. So where are they now to where they want to be?
Okay.
Reality, G for goals, open questions based on how, when, why, all of that.
Sales questions I've been using.
Exactly. And then O stands for opportunities, which is your deal that you're pitching for. And the W stands for will, which is a closing question. A lot of people who are in sales don't quite ask the closing question. Yeah. Would you like to go ahead? What do you think about the deal?
Yeah. Trial close and all that sort of stuff. Yeah.
Exactly. Okay. I have taught GROW model in depth and I've practiced with our internal members. You will see it in the videos. Like so many sessions, I would say at least 20 plus sessions just practicing GROW model.
Okay, I'm quite comfortable with that stuff. I'm not arrogant enough. I've done sales all my life. I'm not arrogant enough.
But this is a very structured way of doing it.
Yeah, I was going to say, mate, if there's anything on that, I'll need to look at that then. Yeah, no problem. Yeah.
In fact, let me share with you something so you can see through going forward. My whole communication, every word that I speak stands on the GROW model. So the next time when I speak with you, I'd like you to observe this. Simon, we spoke in the morning for about half an hour, or I don't know how many minutes.
How are you, Simon? What are you doing? What's the issue?
So if you just go back, everything is based on the GROW.
Yeah.
I've practiced this a lot of times. I still practice on daily basis. It's always a win-win situation when you understand, and then you go from the perspective. You follow from the perspective of what is it that the other person really wants.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you bring value on the table. Key. Very, very important.
Yeah.
Anyone? Any other questions, guys? Guys and girls?
No.
All good, Jack.
Yeah. All good. Yeah.
All right. Okay. So one of the things, like I said, I learned lately, and I'd like to repeat this, and there's a reason, is for as long as there's this recession going on, I call it the perceptive recession. Save your time, don't pitch it to property investors. I've had some serious investors, seasoned investors, 40 plus years experience, say no on really good deals. Okay. And I'm like, something isn't right. I'm thinking maybe it's time to approach people who know less about property. Okay? It'll save you a lot of time. So that's one point covered, which is investor psychology. What was the second point? How to do one life-changing deal. Okay. All right, guys. Let me share with you 3 deals that are done in the last 3-4 years, which have been life-changing for me. So one of them that we did was we took, and I think I might have shared this with many of you, but it's a good reminder. So we took an option agreement. We took that option agreement for £1. Delayed completion option agreement 24 months later to be completed for 1.1 million on a really large detached house. We got the planning permission. We applied for planning permission, got the planning permission for 8 units, 6 flats and 2 semis. We sold the option agreement without developing it for 1.7 million, making a 600 grand profit by just planning a bit. Guys, just give me 1 second. I don't know why my charger is not working. So that was one deal. I did that with a very close friend of mine. And then we did another deal where I bought this property for 285. It came in the market at 330. It was actually valued at 330. I managed to get it at 285. In fact, the story was I went to see this property, and by the time I put an offer in, someone else had put an offer of 330. So they got it, but then they pulled out last minute. I went back in the day it came back in the market, because on Zoopla, there's a feature where you get a notification for a certain search. So my search was that. So I got a notification at night. 9 o'clock, I called the agent. 9:30, I was back into the same property. I proposed 280, rejected. I proposed 285, accepted. I got a 45 grand discount. Highest capital growth area, Slough. This was 2019. You can actually go and read about this. But back in 2019, Slough was the highest capital growth area. It probably is one of the top 10 still. So got it for 285. We spent 85 grand on the deal, refurbing it. It's now valued at over £500,000. I'll probably say it's about worth 550 now. And we are making about £1,000 in net rental income. The rental of the property is about £2,000. It's 1950, but I am getting £1,000 net rental income. If you go and read some stats, that property would be worth, according to previous stats, in the next 20 years, it would be worth 1.25 million. Not just that I'm enjoying £1,000 a month. In the next 20 years, this property is going to be worth 800 grand more, or 750 grand more than what it's worth now. Purely because, like I said, it's the highest capital growth area, close to Heathrow and all of that stuff. But I did value worth about 120 grand on top. Raise your hand if you see that as a good deal.
Yes.
The kind of time it took me, it was 3 months part-time work, refurbing the property. Okay.
Yeah.
Another deal that I did was, in fact, I took on 4 hotels over a period of 12 months. 3 of them lease hotels, and 1 of them freehold. I'll share with you the freehold, and I'll share with you the other 3 as well. You can see through a bit, guys. There's a reason I'm sharing, and it's not about bragging or anything. It's just being able to see through. Okay. So I took on a hotel. I didn't have any money when I was agreeing this deal. I reached out to a couple of investors. They gave me the money. I returned their money back. So this hotel came into the market, valued at about 350. I managed to get it at 220. Desperate seller through the COVID period, 20 operational rooms, just didn't know what to do with it. We got it at 220. We spent about 65 grand refurbing it, added another 11 rooms, so 31 operational rooms now. It's now leased out on a FRI lease for 5 years to a corporate company, and they are paying 47 grand, just shy of £1,000 a week in net rental income. Because we paid all cash in and I've returned the money from other businesses that I have, it's now freehold, as in no mortgage, no loan, is bringing in all of that 47 grand in net rental passive income. At one point, I was actually managing that hotel, and the other 3 hotels, I had 50 rooms I was managing. I was making over £1,000 a day just managing these 4 hotels. Okay. I had a team of 17 people on ground managing these 4 hotels. All right. And I did that in a period of 12 months, straight flat out. You guys can do it. Hotels, rent to HMO, rent to rent, depending on the location. Making £1,000 a day is actually a piece of cake. Okay. But it does come with the stress of managing properties. I was not personally in position of life to take that management position. For those of you who don't know, my son really hurt himself badly. He spilled hot tea on his face. So we as a family decided to completely come out of management. So I have actually given out all of these 4 hotels. One, obviously, on a FRI lease, the freehold. The other 3 that I have, one of them I sold, and the other 2 are hybrid management with 2 different companies. Okay. But for those of you who think that making £1,000 a day is a lot of money, it's not. As long as you understand the depth of running either a rent to rent or a rent to HMO. I don't recommend rent to rent anymore. Quite saturated these days. I do recommend running a rent to HMO portfolio and or running a hotel in a high demand location. Okay. If you can take a 50-bed hotel or a 100-bed hotel in a high demand location, you could easily walk away with $500,000 in your pocket. Pretty easy. Okay. That was just not me in the young kids family at the moment. I may come back to it later at some point, but it's easy. Okay. Systems in place, people in place, right people in place, cleaners in place. You're just running an operation, just like any operation. If you were doing a development, you'd have a similar 7-level operation. If you are running a rent-to-rent portfolio, similar level operation. If you're running a hotel, either a freehold hotel or a leasehold hotel, a similar level operation. You wake up 6, 7 o'clock. You go to bed 10 o'clock. But you do that for, you make $500,000. You do it for 5 years, $5 million down. Go and invest it back into a bunch of portfolio, and you are going to be free. Raise your hand if you can see through that in 5 years' time. You can potentially be free, completely free. Some of you have already done it. We've got a bro here who's a seasoned investor, has actually already done this, but in a different way, being a property trader. Okay.
Who's that, Jack? Which one is that?
We have Farouk here. No, it's Farouk. Sorry, Abrar was here as well. I think he left. Abrar joined earlier as well. Abrar is another guy in the inner circle. Simon, if you'd like to get introduced, I'd be happy to. The guy is a day trader of property. So basically, he generates about 1,500 leads a month.
Yeah.
And practically closes a bunch of these deals. He's made, quite a lot of money. He's been doing it for nearly 20 years.
Okay.
But I find that process not very difficult, Simon. All he's doing is he's got a process on Google where he runs ads, a couple of systems in place, which, we use kind of some of those systems as well. Generate, leads at, let's say, £50 per piece. And then you look back and you've closed a bunch of them, covering your cost, and you're left with, £1 million, £2 million a year. Running an operation like that is not very difficult. It's just a process that you need to create it takes about 2-3 years, but it's not very difficult. All right.
Cool.
All right, guys. So Grace, his name is Abrar. I'd be happy to introduce you guys. Again, he's someone who's learning the depth of developments and planning uplifts with us, but he's a seasoned property trader. I call him trader, not investor, because he's a trader. You take a property, get the deal, flip it pretty quickly, make 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 grand from a deal. And if he does that over 20, 30 times, he's got $1 million plus in a year.
Is he in the Yorkshire area or somewhere, Leeds or Northwest?
Yeah, he's in up north. I don't remember exactly his location, but he's up north, yes.
Okay. I bought a deal
Probably close to Sheffield or somewhere.
Yeah, I think, I'd like to speak to him again, though. That's great. Yeah.
Again, guys, this is all not rocket science. This is all common sense stuff. You know, when you start doing it, you'd have more in-depth questions. But, you know, and if you look through some of these deals that I've just mentioned, then they're not, I promise you, they're not very difficult. Yes, it does require a lot of work. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I remember when I took my first hotel, for a period of about a month, I used to be up at 4 o'clock in the morning and I'd go to bed at 2 o'clock. So I'd only sleep for 2 or 3 hours, just trying to set up the systems.
Yeah.
Crazy. Like the channel managers and the Expedias and the Booking.coms and the Airbnbs, and trying to understand their systems and how they work, and, you know, but it's not difficult.
It's a learning curve, though, isn't it? It's always a learning
curve. Yeah, you have to go through that learning curve. Yeah. But it's not very difficult. Like I said, you could create a rent-to-HMO portfolio. You know, one person can easily manage about 15, 20 properties. You know, 20 properties down the line, you're already making, you know, 12, 15 grand a month. And then you go and hire someone for 2 or 3 grand a month.
Yeah.
And then you add on another, you know, 15 properties or 20 properties to your portfolio. And then you keep doing that till you get to, you know, 100 HMO units that you're managing. You're making $500,000, $1 million in your business. And when you look back at the value of that business, you're probably going to fetch 2-3 million. It's not very difficult to do that. The question is, are you going to actually put the work in? That's all it is.
All it is.
And if you just do the basics, in fact, let me share with you a story. This is a seminar. And one of the speakers asked the members, said, you know, raise your hand if you use every single strategy and or tactic in guerrilla marketing. And only one hand was up. And so the person stood up and he asked him, said, you know, how many business do you have? He goes, I've got about 10 plus businesses. And what do you turn over? He goes, I turn over 100 million. And the speaker said to him, he said, why are you here? He goes, there's always something to either be reminded of and or to learn. And if you use all the guerrilla marketing tactics, ask me, I have a bullet pointed list in my drive saved. If you use every single guerrilla marketing tactic, if you just do the basics, I call it the basics, making $500,000 to $1 million a year is a piece of cake. Forget about learning advanced strategies. Just using the basics can make you that kind of. Using common sense of taking feedback. Attending classes like this, seminars, events, till you reach 100 million plus. Most of the times you don't learn something new. Most of the times it's just a reminder. If I speak with...
That's good. You jogged me with some things tonight. Yeah.
Most of the time, if I make a list of people that I speak with, and let's say I speak with 100 seasoned investors, I barely learn anything from them. But most of the times it's a reminder. I don't turn up to these guys and say, oh, I already know this. That's ego.
Yeah.
Never say that. Always say, thank you for reminding. Keep attending these classes. I'm saying later to you guys, first to me. Keep attending these classes till you reach 100 million plus. When someone is teaching you something, first they're reminding themselves. Later, that person is teaching you. Okay? So everything that I'm sharing with you, always that's a first reminder to myself. And then I'm sharing with you. Okay? So one deal can change your life. Mine has, especially this hotel deal, you know, because it's bringing £1,000 a week. That's what a normal, reasonably decent lifestyle in UK needs, about £1,000 a week. Raise your hand if you know what I mean. A reasonably good lifestyle, not going there and buying a Ferrari, but eating at Nando's every now and then, walking into a really good restaurant and paying £200 bill, you know, wearing the best clothes, not branded clothes, but, you know, Zara's and, you know, Top Shops and all of that, and buying your missus something really decent every month. That's what you need. It took me just one deal. It took me just 4 months to do that deal. And remember, that deal stays with me for the rest of my life. And it pays not just me for my life, it's going to pay my kids as long as they learn to manage it. Okay? 4 months. You call it freedom? Freedom sits in property when you understand the depth and when you apply. If you come back to me 12 months later and nothing is working in your life, that's probably because you've not taken enough action and or practiced the GROW model to get enough yeses, to speak with enough investors and enough landlords and enough agents and viewed enough properties. I can show you I have viewed over 150 plus hotels till I got to a point where I managed to close 4 hotels in a short period of 12 months. 150 hotels, guys. I went back the other day, you know, into my drive, and I was looking at the hotels that I viewed. Mind-boggling. Okay? Put the work in and do not look for an excuse, guys. I have had temperature and I've walked into my office. I've been really ill, sick. I've still walked into my office. I've gone to my office because I have no other choice. If I'm dead on the road, no one is going to give a shit. Come out of the mindset of anyone ever is going to give a shit. If someone does, consider yourself lucky. Otherwise, no one gives a shit. Get the work done. Irrespective of how you do it. Let me tell you a very quick anecdote so you can see through of this, okay? In fact, there was a study done by the Napoleon Hill Foundation where they said your interpersonal skills, that's your persuasion skills and your leadership skills, are considered as 80% marker of your success. Massive research. This is not a minor research, it's a big research done on tens of thousands of people, okay? So your interpersonal skills, that's your leadership skills, being able to lead people and persuade people, that's your sales skills. Relate, that's your 80% success, okay? Let me share with you a night that I still remember. I remember I was setting up Expedia for my hotels. Expedia is really complicated. I mean, booking.com is complicated, but Expedia is really complicated. And I was literally banging my head on the wall. 2 o'clock at night, I pick up the phone, I call Expedia. It took me 3 days to set up one hotel on Expedia. That's working nearly 20 hours each of those days. Guess what happened to the second one? Took me an hour to set up. Guess happened to the third. Guess happened to the third one.
Yeah.
10 minutes.
It took me an hour to set up, but I set it up in a much more efficient and effective way. Guess what happened to the fourth one? And so on and so forth. Okay? First time when you do something, it feels impossible. Don't give up. Because once you take that first step and you close that first deal, the second one will feel 10 times more easier. Okay? The third one will feel more easier, and so on and so forth. Is all of this very easy? The answer is absolutely no. When you work 20 hours, okay, like guys, this is important stuff, okay? I walked into UK with £300 in 2000, February 2000. I had absolutely no one to depend on. So if I didn't make money, I would end up homeless on the road begging, okay? If I have managed to, and I can tell you, I don't have the best IQ on the planet. Neither I have the best EQ on the planet. IQ is your intelligence. EQ is your emotional intelligence. I have none of those the best on the planet. Okay? All I have is put your head down and get the work done. Compounded growth applies to everything. Your money, your knowledge, your networking, your health, your well-being, your nutrition. It applies to everything. So when you do something right and you keep compounding that over a period of time, it goes in your favor. If you look at PEN, compounded effect of networking. If you look at my health, compounded effect of working out and having good food. If you look at the deals that I'm doing, compounded effect of doing bad deals and taking bad decisions, learning from them. If you think I've not taken bad decisions, probably ask my family. Okay? They didn't trust me till I was like 35.
Can I tell something? Can I tell something?
Please, go ahead.
I arrived to this country in 2002. I didn't know anyone in this country, and I had $300 in my pocket.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. So guys, it's really about getting the work done. And remember, compounding only goes in your favor after a certain period of time. Unfortunately, when you compound the penny, for the next 15 days, 20 days, nothing ever happens. It's only after the 20 days of compounding a penny every day that you really start to see results. If you take that in the context of the business, nothing is going to happen in your business. In fact, there's statistics starts out there. There was a research done where it said, if you leave your job, let's say you're on a 50 grand job. If you leave your job and you start a business, it's going to take you 3 years to replace your income. Let me repeat this so you can see through a bit. If you are on 10 grand a year, it will take you 3 years in your business to get to 10 grand. If you are making 10 million a year, it will take you 3 years to replace the 10 million in your business. Leadership and persuasion skills at the core playing. Okay? So if you now are making 30, 40, 50, 100 grand, don't expect miracles in the next 3 years. Miracles happen 10 years later. Okay? When someone would just walk into you and say, I'm going to pay you 100 grand, just teach me what you do. I shared with you an example earlier. Okay? Or, you do one single deal and you make, $500,000. That happens 5 years later. If it happens in your life in a year or 2 years' time, consider yourself lucky. Being lucky can go against you because it normally builds ego when things come easy. Okay? It builds negative ego. There's positive ego and there's negative ego. Okay? So be prepared to go through that journey, go through the pain. Pain in most cases is actually blessing in disguise. When you work 20 hours and learn for 20 hours, in fact, let me share with you a quick story and then we're going to jump onto the planning objective. I had someone message me the other day, I want to learn the planning objective game. So I said, I asked him a bunch of questions and then he came up and said to me, he said, I'm not watching 190 hours of trainings. My reply to him was, good luck. You're never going to get to that point.
So Jack, the person said, I'm not watching 190 hours of training. Wow. Okay.
He literally turned up and said that.
Unteachable. Okay.
And he expects to make $1 million from a single deal.
Right. Okay. Not going to happen.
in his 20 lives, he's not going to make that money. 190 hours, I do in 3 weeks.
Mm.
And if he's not prepared to put in 3 weeks work, he's never going to get there. And it's not about putting in 190 hours. I always say this, and it's repeated, and but it really needs to go in. How many hours of practice do I do till I get to that point where I make $1 million a deal? As many as it takes. How many calls do I make till I get to a point where I do $1 million a deal? As many as it takes. How many investors do I speak with till I get to a point where I raise $1 million, 10 million? As many as it takes.
As many as it takes, yeah.
Don't come to me and say I made 10,000 calls. Means nothing to me. Did you keep improving every call?
Yeah.
Did you slow down and wrote down the objections and said, how many did I deal with right? How many did I deal with? I could improve, so on and so forth. If you've not improved after 10,000 calls, I'm not sure if anyone can help you. Okay. After about 400 or 500 calls, I would say you should really start to get massive yeses. Okay. Let me share with you some other stats, and I want to jump on to the other part of the really finding the land deals. Okay. But when you work for someone and or hire someone, it normally takes them about less than a month to learn 70% of what it is to be done. It takes them a year to learn from 70 to 80 to 90. But then it takes them another 10 years to go from 90 to 91 to 92 to 93 to 95 to 98 to 99, 99.1. It takes 10 years. But the first 70% can be learned in a month. I need you to slow down and see where I'm going with this, guys. You can learn the property game, 70% of it, in literally a month. But unfortunately, that 70% ain't going to make you $1 million a deal. It's when you get to the 90% plus, the 90.1% and the 90.2%. Because that 0.1% can sometimes take you months. That's the depth of any industry. This applies to any industry. It's not just property. It's any industry. It's the depth of it. And sometimes that 0.1% improvement can take months. Apply this to an athlete. In fact, there's a story, right, about what's the golfer's name? Is it what's his name?
Tiger Woods.
Tiger Woods.
Tiger Woods, yeah, Tiger Woods, yeah. It's a very famous story about him changing his swing, yes.
Yeah.
And everyone stood against it, and it's going to take you years to practice, new swing and so on. And he still did it because for him to improve that 0.1% was crucial.
Yeah.
And he still did. And you can read about this story online. This is a very famous story. Okay.
Jack,
but remember those yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, Jack, it's similar to a story I read on LinkedIn somewhere, where it was talking about a mechanic that came in, where basically there was a ship, the ship's engine had a problem.
Oh, and, yeah, that's a very good story.
Yeah, they sent the mechanic in, and then the guy charged $10,000, and they said, well, it took you 5 minutes to do $10,000, and then he explained, well, all these years of training to understand the engines of a ship, and then the $10,000 is the experience that I know which thing to knock to get the engine back working. It's what you were saying, Jack. It's that 0.1. Yeah.
So it's not about where to hit the nail. It's not about hitting the nail. It's where to hit the nail.
Exactly.
It's what I'm charging for. Yeah.
And not just where, the force needed as well. The exact force needed. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
In fact, the same story, and sorry, I keep going, but this is so important to get, right? Who is the famous painter? I think it was like, what was the name of the painter? Give me a couple of names of the painters.
Who? Salvador Dali? Salvador Dali?
Banksy?
I can't remember. One of the really famous painters.
Leonardo da Vinci?
Da Vinci?
Da Vinci, yeah, it's a story, right?
Michelangelo?
I think it was Da Vinci or whatever. Anyway, the story was a woman walked up to him and she said, can you paint a picture of me? Because I can certainly do that. So he painted the picture. 5 minutes later, the picture is done. He gave the woman the picture, and then he said to the woman, he said, I'm going to charge you $1 million. He said, well, I don't have $1 million. He said, well, that's £1 million for this painting. She goes, it took you 5 minutes. Yes, it took me 5 minutes to get to a point where I can draw a picture like this in 5 minutes. took
Right.
me 20 years practice.
Yeah.
Okay. Same applies to property. The more you learn the depth, the easier it gets. And like I said, doing a one single deal that can make you 100 grand all the way up to 1 million becomes very, very easy when you learn the depth.
Mm.
If I was to take a scale of 100, I am probably now in the 90s. I would say early 90s in the depth of the property, not late 90s. I'm probably going to get to the late 90s compounded effect maybe in the next couple of years. But I'm in the early 90s figure, okay? Learning the depth of property. So, but I've only managed to get here, you know, my first property was 2003, guys, all right? Bear in mind, I'm a qualified financial advisor. I have probably one of the largest networks in the country. And the kind of work and hours I've put in, and I'm not saying that hard work is, it has only 25%, statistically proven, it only has 25% relevance to your success. So hard work, the input and the output, only 25% relevance, hard work, okay? The rest is, there's more stats on it. It's smart work and conscientiousness, and there's a lot of other things connected to it, okay? But hard work is only 25% of the equation, okay? So, okay, now we're gonna get to the deals part. So for those of you who are new here, we use 4 tools. We use Land Insight, we use Nimbus Maps. So for those of you who have access to the trainings, guys, can you please make a note? You need to watch video number 44 and 45 to start with, because they are the ones which are trainings, internal trainings of Nimbus Maps, which show you how to find deals through Nimbus Maps, development deals, land deals, flip deals, conversion deals, how to find the per square foot value of a deal, how to literally find, like, it's Nimbus Maps is an amazing, expensive, but really an amazing tool to find sites. And you can find all sorts of sites, flip deals, conversion deals, development deals, you know, hybrid commercial resi, you know, it literally gives you point to point on per square foot value you can achieve. There's many features in Nimbus Maps that can potentially help you. Similar with Land Insight as well. Again, very expensive. Property data has become amazing, pretty good. I am again going to subscribe to property data. So property data is something that you can use as well. But I've been lately very heavily inclined towards using labs.os. So I'm going to share that with you guys if you already don't have that. Labs.os link. And then I'm going to share my screen with you guys as well. Where is the chat? Zoom keeps changing stuff. I can't find chat. Where is chat? Can someone? Oh yeah.
Should be
Oh
in the
yeah, I
middle
found it.
somewhere.
I found it. I found it. All right, guys, I've just shared the link of the labs.os, the tool that I've been using a lot more of, purely because it's free. Okay. And luckily, I don't need all of the features at this stage of my journey of Land Insight and Nimbus Maps. You guys might need it, but it is very expensive. I can teach you most of that stuff, okay? So labs.os, I'm going to share my screen with you. All right, guys, can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Yes, we can.
All right, guys, that's labs.os. Towards the left. And anyone wants to give me an area? Okay, so before I do this, I'm going to stop sharing screen. I want to ask everyone here. So, all right. So Grace, can I see you first for a second? Can you switch on your camera, Grace? Not sure if she can hear me.
No.
Moro, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, Moro. So I'd like you to go to your spreadsheet, not now, but a bit later. Okay.
Okay.
And start going through those deals that I've sent you. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I will give you more deals on the list. It's very easy for me to fill that spreadsheet. I can fill it to about 100 in a day.
Okay.
But approaching all of those 100 people can take days. Okay.
Right.
So you need to start approaching them because, okay, I understand that, Grace. Just take it easy, but just keep listening, please. So go back to that list and start approaching these people. If let's say you go to the door, go in a shirt, so there's more presentable, more trust built, probably a light blue shirt or a royal blue shirt or even a dark blue shirt, creates more trust.
Mm-hmm.
Always presentable, always to the point. Remember, guys, if you don't look successful, you'll never be successful. Okay. You really need to dress well at every single moment when it is required. In this session, I'm wearing a normal polo shirt, okay? But when you go for meetings, you turn up in a professional shirt, okay? Even if it means you walk into Primark and buy a white shirt, okay? Always professional. Because when you walk up to someone, when someone approaches me, and if they are not dressed according to the context, I have a problem with that. Because the first impression that person is giving me is you're not using your senses for how you're supposed to dress for that moment. I have made that mistake. I walked into a meeting. I was going to do a deal worth about 900 grand. I didn't close the deal. The guy walked out and literally turned up on my face and said, if you are telling me who you are, why aren't you presentable in that way? I just went in a t-shirt that day. I would never do that again. Okay? So dress for the occasion. You don't have to dress expensive. Dress for the occasion. A light blue jeans, a trouser, a shirt is not rocket science, guys. Okay? So when you walk into that door and knock the door, your job is to build trust with a complete stranger. Okay? This guy, and I'm going to say this so you can see through, okay? Your vibe attracts your tribe. Okay? I'm going to share this with you so you can see through a bit more of this, okay? If you observe people in the PEN network, there's more Asians, okay? Now, that does not mean I don't have people from other backgrounds working alongside me. All I'm saying is you'd normally tend to attract your vibe, people with your vibe. Does that make sense? Now, your vibe does not mean how you look. It also means your intellect. It also means your emotional stature. So I remember giving a speech in one of the central London events I was invited into, and when I ended up with my story, I had a bunch of people walk up to me because it was just really touching story. I was actually sharing story about myself, but it was a touching story. But I had a bunch of people walk up to me, and every single one of them said, we could heavily relate to the story purely because they'd been through that painful journey. Okay? Every single one of those people are still connected with me on either WhatsApp, Facebook, LinkedIn, so on and so forth. That moment, they connected with me on the emotional level. But when someone is looking at my picture and they have not heard me, they don't know nothing about me, what kind of people am I attracting? More Asians. All of this means is you just need to be aware of all of this, guys. Okay? Okay? You're likely going to attract more people. If they are watching you from afar, it's the way you look. If they're listening to you on a stage or somewhere, if you're telling the right story, probably your emotional stature, or if you are telling something objective and they listen to it, then your intellect. Please raise your hand if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Okay. This is very important to understand, guys. It's not racist. It's not in any way. It's just human psychology for you to understand. Okay. So when you approach someone, now it's your job to find that ground, the common ground to build rapport with. I know nothing about football because I never got time to watch football. Okay. So when I'm sitting with someone English, I have no damn common ground to start the conversation. So I have to find something. Can you see where I'm going with this? When I say English, I'm talking about people who've born and brought up in UK. Raise your hand if you know what I mean, right? The most common ground is football. Yes, no? Yeah. I know nothing. I don't even know the damn captain of the football team. Okay? Only because I was focused on my personal growth. Okay? So it's a lot more tougher for me. So when I tend to do that, I would normally, if I can find a way to get to know about that person on social media, LinkedIn, Facebook, so on and so forth, I'd always try and find a way to get to know that person. If I'm knocking the door and if I see an Asian man coming, it's a lot more easier. I can find some cultural ground, so on and so forth to talk about. If I have, depending on the kind of person who's going to open the door. Let me tell you something interesting, okay? If I come across someone who speaks a different language, I speak 5 different languages, guys, okay? If I come across a person who speaks a different language, and if I know that language, and if I see that language is his first language, I'm not going to speak in English, guys. That's the best way to build rapport. Native language, guys. A good example here is Farouk. Farouk knows I speak Hindi, Urdu. What language did I speak with you when I spoke with you last time?
English.
Open your mic, Farouk, maybe tell us.
Yep.
I spoke with you in Hindi, Urdu, right?
Yep.
So when you approach someone, and if you are, if you can find that person as native language, obviously when you come across people, if you're getting bored, tell me, all right? So if you come across someone, Simon, let me ask you this. So let's say you come across someone who is 30 years old, English guy. What do you think the common ground to speak about would be?
You asking me?
Yes.
Born,
brought up UK.
Football,
what do you talk about?
Football and girls. And maybe,
guys, can you see the experience?
Where they drink. Obviously, I don't drink, yeah?
Guys, can you see where this is going? This is experience. 30-year-old man, football, girls,
cars.
And drinks, and maybe even cars as well. Yes. Can you see where I'm going with this? Where he's going with this?
Yes.
Jack, can I interject? Can I give
please do.
Yeah. I used to run a call center in selling mobile phones in a previous life, and I had 80 staff, and 50 of them were in Delhi, actually, weirdly enough.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
I was quite successful at selling.
Okay.
And I used to give the advice. I had to train them, my staff, and I used to I'm going back 15 years now, and I don't know exactly what you're talking about here. And so like I used to say, so like on an FM radio, it starts the broadcast at 88 up to 108 FM. And I would say you would have to very quickly on the telephone establish what kind of person you're speaking to. So are you speaking to someone who's a little bit older, a man, maybe into golf or something like that? Call them sir. If you're speaking to a younger guy, possibly mate, I'm just giving you an example, you've got to get on the right rapport with them pretty quickly. Before, we were selling mobile phones, so it's not as, but
it's not an expensive thing, yeah.
Yeah. But you've got to get on the right level pretty quickly with that person, So I think that backs
That's a good example. That's a good example. Thank you for sharing that.
Just trying to help.
It's almost like the frequency and the energy, and you need to pick that very quickly and find a common ground very, very quickly so you can, get on with it.
Yep.
Yeah, that's very important. In fact, one of the things that I'm studying a bit more of is energy levels. So when you're speaking with someone, you try and match that energy level. And then the more you match that energy level, it becomes a lot more easier. Common ground is just one aspect of it, but really matching the energy level is really, really top class, right? Top class persuasion level. Okay.
Jack,
really,
no, Jack, just a quick one. Just a quick one, Jack. When I was in my Scrum work, project manager work, I remember I had team members that particular thing that you just said happened to me, where because I'm quite high energy, I'm quite, let's go, let's do this, let's come on. I was talking to, when I started the role, one of the team members who was very senior, his energy level was the opposite of me. And now I remember that when I started, every time I went to speak, he would kind of retract, kind of just, because I had too much energy. Until I learned and I started observing him and said, okay, I might be giving him too much energy, too much of this. So let me just tone it down a bit when I'm with him, so that when I'm doing that, he can then talk to me and we can speak, and it's just easier. So yes, so Jack, I know exactly what you're saying about energy levels, because I personally faced that, and I literally had to tone down, because he felt a little bit intimidated by all the energy, because I'm Portuguese, and in Portugal, we're very hands are going everywhere, and
I know
we're
what you mean.
talking.
Yeah.
That's how we are. So I had to tone that down, because he just felt intimidated. He said, "Are you okay?" He always said that. "Are you okay? Why? What's all this?" And I just had to learn to, okay, just calm down.
Tone it down.
Yeah, tone it down. Speak to him like that, and then when he's not him, go back to being, like
Okay.
that. So I know exactly what you're saying.
So building rapport is what we're talking about. Knocking doors. Go back to your spreadsheet. Start knocking doors. Leave a note if they're not there. Find out who they are on LinkedIn, Facebook, neighbors. I don't care how you do it. Your job is to find out who they are, what is it that they do, everything about them, and start negotiating deals. Once you have managed to do the first meeting, your job is to set up the second meeting, and that's when I can come into the picture and I can start negotiating the deals with you. Okay, and this applies to some other members as well that I've sent sheets
Got
to.
it.
Those of you who are new, reach out to me tomorrow. I will prepare a sheet and I'll send you across some deals so you can start working with me along this. Like I said, I can sit on a laptop for an hour. I can sift about 10 deals an hour. So if you need about 100 deals on a spreadsheet, it's a day's job for me. Okay. So just all you got to do is reach out to me. I know the new members, I'm yet to reach out to you. But if I don't reach out to you in the next day or two, please reach out to me. Either way, it doesn't really matter. So we can start working towards these deals. I'm going to now share the screen so you can see through. Okay. We will cover more rapport building, more persuasion skills, more grow model. Every single session, guys, it's the most important thing. If you don't know how to get a yes, you're just never going anywhere with anything in life. Learn to get a yes. Landlords, investors, agents, so on and so forth. Very, very important, guys. All right.
Good.
All right, guys, can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. In fact, let me share something very interesting. I was actually looking at an area. Let me just pull out my drive. It's a very close friend of mine who lives there, and he asked me to look into his area, and I was intrigued. It's just very, very interesting. I'm yet to study that area a bit more, but it looked very interesting for planning uplifts, and I wanted to share this with you guys. Just give me one sec. All right, just give me one sec. For some reason, it's logged me out. Log back in. Okay, the area was Gerrard's Cross. I can always pick up any area that you guys want me to look into. Okay, so this is, guys, I think you can see my screen, right?
Yeah.
All right, so
Yeah,
this
we can
is
see.
this is Gerrard's Cross. I actually prepared a sheet on Gerrard's Cross, but like I said, if you guys want me to look at a particular area, I'd be happy to look at it and I can show you how the whole thing works, okay?
That'd be
So
great.
if I go back to my labs.os, and if I zoom into Gerrard's Cross, there we go, that's Gerrard's Cross. All right, guys. So these are the streets of Gerrard's Cross. As you can see, Gerrard's Cross Station. Unfortunately, with this tool, there's no way to put postcode and it's going to zoom you in. You really physically have to zoom into every town that you'd like, okay? So if I zoom in, can you see this? This is Gerrard's Cross Station, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Can you see this is a big, massive plot?
That's huge.
This one?
Yeah.
Where my cursor is. Now, there's actually a tool on Google which allows you to measure how big this plot is. Okay, so this is Bulstrode Way, number 38. By all means, go to Google, check the tool that allows you to measure. There's a couple of tools that allow you to measure. I would say this plot would be at least 700-800 square meter.
Okay.
Simon, what do you think?
Yeah. I'm just trying to work it out.
Do you think this would be
Yes,
about 700
yeah.
square meter?
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Judging
good.
on the house size and so on.
So, guys,
Yeah.
on a 700 square meter, this house is probably 100
Well,
square meter, maybe.
Yeah, I was about to say, yeah, because this is a lot of plot for the house, yeah.
Yeah. He's got a couple of things. There could be stables, there could be, I don't know, extensions on the side, but it's not a big use of the plot.
No.
Do you think we can potentially get 3 flats, 4 flats here?
Yeah. Can I speak? Yeah.
Of course you can.
Above the garage, maybe one's a garage. You could put maybe a couple above that. Definitely.
Oh yeah.
Split off a bit of the corner. Definitely
That's right.
again. Yeah.
So if I take you back, can you see this? This is a sheet that I've saved on Drive. Can you see Bulstrode Way 38, 42, 46, 40, and 44 missing from system? Find out why. And 51 and 53, which are the opposite of these numbers. Can you see very large plots with potential? Local per square foot value is 450. I
Okay.
checked this 450 on Zoopla and Rightmove.
Yeah.
Okay. Very easy. Just go and check new build plots, new build,
Yeah.
flats. You get an average per square foot value. Okay.
Yeah.
And I've made a whole list, and I've given this to a close friend of mine. He's a seasoned developer investor, and he's kind of looking into it. And I said to him, I'm gonna add another sort of 80, 90 more leads onto this, and then you go and negotiate. And I'm doing similar stuff with all the regional members as well. I'm gonna go back to the OS hub, and I'll share with you something very interesting. Here, Gerrard's Cross Station, which is here. There's a bunch of flats here as well. trying to think where they were. There's a cinema here. There was a bunch of flats close by. Because in fact, right opposite Chelmsford Station, my friend lives, and it's a big block of flats there. I think it's one of these. Yeah. So,
Okay.
I think one of these. Hawthorne, the Rowans. Can't even remember the street that he's on. It's one of these.
Okay.
Okay. And if you look at if you look at the flats that are there, can you see these? Europa Court, Europa House. These are flats.
Yeah.
There are more. There are quite a few here. Okay. But if you look at those flats, some of these flats are being sold at 500, 600, 700, 800,000, guys.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then if I was to zoom out, and if I just showed you something else, this is a very interesting area this was. Look at this. Look at this. This is again
That's
a
a really large plot.
800 square meter plot. You can easily get, 8, 9 flats there. I was just scrolling through. Look at this. This is probably 1,000 square meter, probably more than 1,000 square meter plot.
Yeah. It might be. It might
Number
be.
20, guys. This is
That's
definitely
very
more
big.
than 1,000 square meter, probably 1,200 square meter.
Yeah, that's really big. That is really
That's
big.
really big. Yeah, guys. I know.
Could be like maybe a
yeah.
mini school or something or whatever.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sam, give me an area you want me to look at?
Me.
Yep.
Area wise.
Yeah, whichever the one that you have intimate knowledge of.
Go to my area then if you want. Go to
Please tell me.
Buxton, BUXTON, where the water's from.
Remember, I can't write Buxton. You'll have to guide me where Buxton is. I know Water Buxton, yes. But
There you
have to
go.
guide me. So if I zoom out, what's the nearest town that I know?
South Macclesfield.
Okay. So I'm just going up north. How far are you from Lancaster, Preston?
No. Go down. So South Manchester, really. South Manchester.
Oh, South Manchester. So I can see
There you go.
Bramhill.
Yeah, Bramhall. Yeah, keep going down. See Macclesfield. But
Yeah, Macclesfield there.
Oh, I can see
Right in the middle.
Macclesfield. Yeah.
and I'm on the right there. So go across. That's where I am. Buxton there.
Buxton. Where is Buxton?
Keep going right. Keep going right.
Keep going right. Oh yeah, I
There you
can
go.
see
There you go.
Buxton.
There you go.
All right, Buxton.
Yeah.
Okay, so Simon, help me out. What is
Yeah.
the per square foot value of a new build here?
Round about 375.
Do you want me to
We did-
check this on Zoopla and Rightmove so you guys can see this?
We did this. We did this today, didn't we? Yeah. Yeah. Go on. Yeah.
I might as well just do it for you so you can see through. It takes about 2 minutes. So
Yeah, sure,
Buxton,
sure.
BUX.
TON.
Oh man.
BUX. X for
Yeah.
X-ray.
Buxton.
Derbyshire.
Quick
Yeah.
search for sale. We are targeting new builds.
There's
so
a Barrett
go,
house there. There you
go
go.
down and just say include new homes, exclude shared ownership, exclude, and then I would include shared ownership, but auction exclude, and then we'll save the search. Just give me 1 sec. Update results. Is there a lot of new build in Buxton, Simon?
There's just been a lot. Yeah, there's a few things going on. A big Barrett site's
so
gone. These
again,
guys
I
are
mean,
still selling.
These
Yeah,
are CGI, so these are computer generated images. So you can
Yeah.
see that these are not built yet, but are going to be a new build anyway. So that's a good one to check. Okay, these are CGIs, guys. These are not real pictures. Okay?
Jack, can I ask a quick question?
Go on.
How, and maybe Jack, you're probably going to answer this later. How would you determine, Jack, what's best to build, if it's flats or houses?
Yeah, so this is not a clear-cut question answer here.
Yeah,
It depends a lot on the local policy.
right. Okay.
So you're gonna have to speak with the local planner. If let's say, I'll give you an example of something that I learned. It's not something that I've done, but I've learned from my mentor. Okay. So if let's say you look at a plot, either it is a green field plot, a green belt plot, a gray belt plot, a brown field site. Are you guys familiar with the difference between all of these?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
If you're not,
Yes.
just write green belt
Yes.
is just basically green belt. Gray belt is another word for spaces that are a part of the green belt but not quite look green and so on. And there's brown field sites which are, used as
Factories and things.
factories and all of that. Yeah. So when you look at an asset, you'd have to work out from how the surroundings look.
Right. Okay.
If everything is around you houses, that doesn't mean you can walk in and build a very congested flats like London.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
You're going to have to match the surroundings. That also doesn't mean you can't get flats. What all that means is that there's lots of factors that come into equation, and it's not something like I can either cover and or have enough knowledge. I do have some knowledge, but I don't have all the knowledge. Remember, I'm not a planner.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you'd only get permission if what you propose matches the local
plan.
matches the local aesthetics.
Right. Gotcha. Yeah.
No,
that makes sense.
matching
In
the
fact,
local
Anara is here.
policies.
Yeah,
Matching
sorry.
the local policies. Sorry, matching the local policies.
Yes.
Yes.
Development
So, guys,
plan of
Anara
the-
is a town planner. Please open your mic, Anara. Go ahead.
Yes, okay. Just matching the local policies, and
Yes.
there are even territories which are allocated for future housing or for future recreational zones. That's why you have to study all documents, and then you know where to look for. It's
Okay.
my approach to look for land
Okay.
for different purposes.
Yes. So, to give you an example, Moro, if let's say you walk on that road and you see lots of flats, the likely is you can apply for lots of flats.
Right. Right.
If you see lots of houses, the likely is it'll be easier to get planning for houses.
Right.
But if you walk on the road and you see lots of houses, really big houses, and you apply for really congested small flats, guess what's going to happen?
Yeah. Rejection. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you really have to play with the context of the asset that you're in rather than what you want. It's not about what you want. It's what the town wants.
Right.
Does that make
Right.
sense?
Yes. Yes. Perfect sense. Yeah.
I hope that makes sense to some extent. Yes. Okay, I'm going to share my screen back again. So I was looking at this property in Buxton, and this is up for £260,000. It's a 3-bed house.
Yeah.
Let's have a look at the floor plans.
I think it's probably about 70 square meters, maybe 80.
How do you know? Doesn't say anything here.
Kind of
One of the things that I don't like is when they put floor plans out and they don't actually write
the size of the plot.
They don't write the size. I'm thinking, come on, guys, it's not rocket science. Put the size. These are especially new builds. They have all the details there.
They do it though because they're quite small, aren't they? If you go with 80 square meters, it's about an average on that development.
Do you think this would be an 80 square meter?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. You're actually right. This would be about an 80 square meter. 80, maybe if you're lucky, 90, no more.
No way 90. They're a bit quite small.
No way 90. Okay, so let's go with 80. Yeah. And this is up for 260. So 80.
Yeah.
So you're right. This is about 325, 330 a square foot.
Are we done square foot or meters?
Yeah, if you want to do square meters, you can do that.
So
80 square meter. Do you want to divide that? How much would that be?
So double check maths. 3,250 per square meter.
Okay. I'm going to stop sharing screen, guys, so you understand something very important. If it is below 3, if the area new build is below 300 a square foot, 300 a square foot.
Yeah, so it's about 10. Yeah.
The gap for planning uplift is so low that it's not worth investing time. So it has to be worth, so any area that you work on, it has to be worth more than 300 a square. whatever that
What's the-
calculation leads to square meter.
what's the optimum?
So here's the trick, Simon. Let's say your build cost is about, let's say, I mean, even the lowest of the spec would probably cost you about 140, 150 these days, a square foot.
150
And
square
then,
foot, yeah.
and then you add the professional fees, you add the sill and the social housing, and then you add, the finance cost and everything. If it is below 300 a square foot, you practically have no land value.
Yeah.
Are you with me?
Yeah.
No.
Because if you add 150 plus the professional fees, which is another normally about 20 to 30 pound a square foot, and then you add the finance cost, which can be as much as sometimes 70, 80 a square foot, depending on it depends on the context, but you got to take an average. Okay.
Yeah.
And by the time you've added a bit of profit for yourself and so on, if it's below 300 a square foot, then land has no value.
Right.
And then planning uplift doesn't mean anything in that case.
Okay.
So in Buxton area, you're just really above that minimum.
That development there, though, is quite a cheap development.
Yeah.
We can go. They've just sold out in the Barrett estate of 260 houses, where a 3-bed was around about 350 or 330.
So there you go. There you go.
And
so,
I still don't think Barrett's a good quality, but then there's like smaller house builders.
Yeah.
And they'd be selling this at like a detached at 500.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's obviously because I know the area, right? And it's just, yeah. And you go 10 miles to
you gotta have some intimate knowledge. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
So the core here is to look for areas which are above 300 a square foot.
Okay.
And then you start playing from that. If you look at, I mean, I'll share the screen again so we can look at Buxton. Sorry, I didn't do that on labs.os. So if I close this, we have an idea of the per square foot value in the region. If I go back to Buxton on labs.os, and if I zoom in, playing a bit. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is Buxton. What the hell? Okay. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
It keeps going around. So hold on. I don't know why this is doing it. Okay, it's gone off. Yeah. Okay. So let's look at Buxton. Normally, if you're closer to the station, it's a bit more congested. If you go a bit further out, so can you see this is what's the name of the road? It's called
Hardy Square, right? Okay. Do you want me to take you to a decent
Harwick Square South?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if you look at number 1, this is quite a decent sized plot.
Yeah. That's a church.
Okay. Yeah, I can see there's a church there further up. So I'm just going to scroll out. Remember, I don't know this area, Simon.
Yeah, no, it's okay. That's why I'm just going to guide you in.
So if I zoom out, this is
But there are some big plots
Oker
around there.
Road.
There's some big
Oker
old
Road.
houses. Yeah.
And number 10 and 12, can you see the size of the plot and the size of the house?
Yeah.
Good
Decent
potential
sized
there.
plot.
You can probably get a 3 or 4 flats there.
Yeah.
I don't even know where I'm going because I don't know
It's
the
okay.
area.
It's okay. It's okay.
I'm only going where it's almost like I'm just scrolling through a bit.
Yeah, just so you're basically looking for land with space on it to do something with it.
Larger plots, yes. Larger plots is what I'm looking for.
Trying to come out of the area. Come out of the area.
Come out of the area.
Go
Okay, I'm gonna turn it around so we can see straight.
Spin it round, yeah.
Okay, there you go.
Okay, great. Go.
Where do you want me to go?
I want you to go. So go back into the town of Buxton a bit, please. Yeah, okay. Bit more, go in a bit more. And then. Okay, so see on the left where it says Burbage? There's Buxton in the
Burbage on the
middle.
left.
On the
On
left,
the
this
left,
is
sorry. Oh yeah,
yeah.
Burbage, yeah.
In,
Burbage.
there's some quite big houses around there.
All right, let's have a look.
Yeah, and Green Lane and around there, Leek Road, yeah. These roads.
Yeah.
Go.
There's some
go
big
up
plots there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see some big plots here, yeah. But I just somehow have an instinctive feeling there's not going to be enough. There may be some potential, but not massive potential.
Mhm.
Okay, you remember I told you about that home that's for sale?
Sorry, say that again.
Remember I told you about the care home?
Yeah, you did, yeah.
So I'll try and guide you to that, shall I?
Go ahead.
Right, so go up. So scroll, yeah, go to the upper road. Yeah.
Which one?
So go up, please. So scroll down, so you go up. If that makes sense. I know it's
Yeah,
everyone's it. Right.
yeah.
So what's that call there? I'm looking for St. John's Road. Road. Right. Okay, great. Go right. Go right. Yeah, keep going and go up. See the road that says Leek Road? We're going to go up that. St. John's Road, right? Brilliant.
St. John's Road, yeah.
Okay, so you see where there's like the bowling green and stuff like that going on,
Yeah.
nursery lane, all that.
Yeah.
Kind of on the edge there is some,
Look at the
Bishop's Lane.
Look
Yeah,
at the
this-
size of this. I don't know what this
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, that's a massive house at the end with the bowling green.
And here is one opposite that. Look at the size of this.
Yeah.
This one.
Yes, that's
Whoa.
where
Look at
we
the
are.
size of this.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Look at the size
Yeah.
of this.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is, but it's a.
The
It's
houses,
massive.
it's kind of Millionaires Row around there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if you go further down St. John's Road, keep going down that. Slow down a minute. Where is it? I'm looking for down there. Keep going down a bit more.
Guys, let me share with you something. Okay, interesting. Now, I don't know this area. Simon just said that this area, this road is called the Millionaires. Okay. And the size of these plots, I mean, look at this. Look at this.
That's
This is
humongous.
about 900, 850 square meter. Look, by the look of it.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
you can get about 7 flats there, 8 flats there. Okay,
Yeah.
and
The houses are about £1 million.
the house is about £1 million. How much would be a flat worth? 2 bed, 3 bed.
In that area, about 400 grand. So if you could get, I mean, what I've done around here is I've got like this where I am now. This house cost me, well, okay, I got it a good deal, paid $215. It's an 8-bedroom house. I've created 3 2-bedroom flats, and they're worth roughly $230 each.
230 each. Okay. All
But
right, guys. So
they are,
yeah.
but just literally where I showed you then, half a mile away, they'd be worth 300 to 350 each.
Okay. All right. So guys, I want you to see through a bit. Okay. If you were building a flat from scratch, okay, and there's lots of factors, but let's say you have a fairly clean run. You don't have a contaminated land. You don't have a bunch of issues with the land. Underpinning is one, contamination is another one. You find something that has a couple of things that you need to pass through. There's a couple of other problems these days, the neutrality bit, which Simon is dealing with as well.
Oh, golly, yeah.
Which is another stupid problem that we're facing. I'll delve into this in another session, but
yes, please don't, no doubt.
but but if you're able to secure one of these deals, I was sharing with you guys Jared's Trust earlier. I mean, the flats are worth £500,000 to £1 million in that region.
Yeah.
A planning uplift for 6 or 7 flats could mean £1 million just in planning uplift value. Raise your hand if you can see through even a little bit of what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Yeah.
I need to see hands so I can see through who is not able to understand this. So Simon, you understand. Anara, are you with me on this?
Yes, I am. Yes, because
So
that is the great
are you
area.
able to? Yeah. So are you able to understand the fact that if we can find a site where we can get planning permission for 7, 8, 10 flats, okay?
Mhm.
Remember, after 9, social housing kicks in. So let's say 9, or then if you want to go up, then you're talking about 20 and 25 and 30s. But if we can get that in a reasonably good crop, a per square foot value area, 400, 500 a square foot, just the planning uplift can be worth about £1 million just from one single deal.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Are you with me on this?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
John, can I see you? I can see you in the top of the list. I know you're still new to the game, but are you getting the basics of what I'm talking about? You are. That's good. Colin, are you with me on this?
Mhm.
I can see you second and the third in the list, Colin. Grace, please give me just a thumbs up if you're able to see that. All right, guys, that's your deal. Okay. Now, when you
Okay.
start working on these deals, like I shared with you, the first challenge is building that rapport, managing that first meeting, building that rapport onto, getting the second meeting on the table with me. And that's when I come into the picture with a potential reverse engineered appraisal. It will be a hypothetical appraisal because we're still not spoken with a planner or an architect or anyone. We've just done it with our due diligence that we do on ground with these tools we use. Okay, we create that. We create a reverse engineered appraisal. I can do that. It can take an hour. We go back to the landlord, and then we negotiate, hopefully, an option agreement. What does an option agreement look like? What it looks like is that we want control of the asset, of the plot, giving us the chance to apply for planning permission. And then the option to buy that, I said option, we shouldn't have to buy it if we don't get planning permission or if there's a challenge. And then that option agreement has to be a minimum of 24 months. Okay, because it can sometimes take a bare minimum of 24 months. It can be done in 6 months too, but we'd rather have that extended timeline so we don't stress over it. And the aim is to get planning permission. And then if you ask me, I don't want to develop it. If you want to develop it, be my guest. I'll sell you the deal. You go and develop. I'll get you the funding too. I have young kids. I don't want to do management. Please raise your hand if you remember what I said right at the start of the session. I have decided to be not in management, just purely because I've got a naughty kid, a really naughty kid. I am more about just investment, and that's where I stand. Like I said, there's nothing wrong in developing it. You could still walk away with $500,000, $1 million from each deal on the development as well. But it's all about doing the work. When you come across intricate challenges, you ask me questions based on that, which we will answer every single one of them. If I don't have an answer, I'll just get someone else. Okay. Do I have answers to everything? The answer is no. No one probably no one has answers to everything. But I would probably have answers to most of the basics. Okay. That's where we are. So raise your hand if you can see, $500,000 in a single deal.
Yes.
Yep. It's doable. I know people who've done it. So yeah, who aren't very clever.
you can only do this if you focus.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you talk a lot, stop talking. Start listening. The only time I talk a lot is when I'm giving a session like this. Otherwise, I am the person who's always listening. Keep attending sessions like this till you get to 100 million. The day you get to 100 million, send me a message saying, Jack, I'm at 100 million. I don't want to see your ugly face again. Here is a gift of £1 million. Here is a gift of £1 million to you. Here's a yacht I'm buying you.
It's a jet.
A piece of jet. There you go. All right. Okay. Any questions, guys? All right. So for those of you who don't have a list, reach out to me. I'll send you a list. We'll start negotiating deals. Like I said, it's a game of learning and execution at the same time. If you just learn, it goes nowhere. If you execute, you become a millionaire. You choose your heart. Sitting is tough. Not doing is tough. Doing is tough. Everything is tough. You just choose your tough. Okay? My tough is very simple. I wake up, I go to gym, I come back, I shortlist deals, I speak with investors, I spend time with my family. That's my tough. You choose your tough. Okay? And I invest as much time as possible. Remember, I'm in Delhi. It's 11:30 at night. Kids are sleeping, so I'm cool. If they were not sleeping, I probably won't be able to do the session. Okay? So, yeah, guys, have an absolutely amazing day, and I'll see you all very, very soon.
Can I ask, Jack, firstly, how I understood, I have to listen video 44 and 45, and then
go back to one.
Go back to one. Okay,
Go back to one.
44.
Create a spreadsheet in your drive and keep ticking in chronological order. So watched 44, watched 45, watched 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, so on and so forth, till you finish the 190th one. And when you do finish the 190th one, I will give you a full day of my life working on a deal that we will work on just with you. Okay?
Okay, and spreadsheet, I can start with some land plots in my area.
Yes, so remind me tomorrow, and I'll create you one for your region, and I'll give it to you so we can start working on deals together.
Yes.
Like I said, for me to create about a list of 100 deals, it takes about a day. For you to negotiate those 100 deals, it's going to take you
weeks,
a month, maybe longer.
Yeah, well,
okay.
So
my speed would always be much faster than you. The question is, how fast can you work on this? Remember, when you finish your first meeting and you arrange the second one, I'll be with you negotiating alongside you. Okay?
Are we doing a bit of a deal split here?
Okay.
Sorry, Jack.
Are we doing a bit of like?
Are we doing a deal split here? If we find a deal and we work together on one?
So we work together, we split 50-50.
Okay. Okay, cool.
For example, if I will find deals and you help me to negotiate 50-50. Yeah.
When we negotiate the deal, we get it over the line, we do the work, get the work done, get planning, we split 50. Okay?
Yeah. Okay. Good.
All right, guys. Any other questions?
Nope.
No.
Okay, I'm gonna finish the session by one thing, which you really always need to remember.
Okay.
The only people that I've seen as winners in life, the people who really win games, like really big games. Okay, I'm not talking about small deals here and there, making a bit of money here, making a bit of money there. I'm talking about winning big. Okay. They have this obsession of, like, sit down and do your work. Zero excuses. I don't care if it's raining. I don't care if there's an earthquake. I don't care if someone is dead. It doesn't matter. That's all what you call human life. Okay? If someone died closer to you, you probably go and spend 3 days, 4 days. Don't come back and tell me 2 months later I was sitting sadly there and not doing it. Because life doesn't stop. Okay? There is no excuse on the planet that you can keep in your mind. Or remember, we live our story. Start telling yourself the story that you are going to be a millionaire soon. If you tell yourself the story of, oh, I have an excuse, whatever the damn excuse might be, then you will be that excuse. So you answer, is your life gonna be an excuse, or is it gonna be a dream life? Okay? I've been sitting in Delhi for 8 months. I have a young family. I can still afford to. Okay? So life is just one thing, and there's no two way about it. Either it's excuses or it's results. And they both don't live in the same space. Okay? So if, let's say, 6 to 12 months later, anyone here has not got results, at least some results, because remember, initially it's a slow down process. Okay?
Yeah.
Let's say not even 6, 12 months, I'll probably give you a longer timeline. Let's say 3 years later, if anyone here hasn't got results, okay, you're just telling yourself the wrong story, guys. Okay? The story you need to tell yourself is, I am the winner, and I'm the one who creates the £1 million deals. Okay? I'm the one who creates this financial freedom, AKA financial confidence. There's no financial freedom. It's what you call financial confidence. Could I go bankrupt 12 months later? The answer is yes. Could I build everything back again in 12 months? Massive yes, because it's not financial freedom. It's financial confidence that you want to build. Yeah. Okay? So start telling yourself the right story, guys. The story is, let's negotiate and close some deals, guys. This is not a deal that's going to make you 10 grand. This is a deal that's going to make you minimum 100 grand. 200 grand, £500,000, £1 million. Do deals like this close very easily? The answer is no. Is there hiccups in the planning process? I mean, you tell me you're going to face everything. You know, like you could be sitting at home thinking, how the hell am I going to pay my rent? And these guys still won't give you planning. And when they do, you will have rent, or forget about rent, you'd be able to buy a property freehold. Freehold within just one deal. Okay? But you may have a day when you may not have rent to pay. That's what you call business sometimes. Building the character to bounce back when things are going south. That's what business and character building is all about. Business is nothing more than a leader behind the scene who's built his character. Being able to bounce back when things are difficult. Nothing else. Hasta la vista, guys.
Hasta la vista.
Thank you.
Hasta la vista, everyone.
Thank you.